What is this? It is the Gnarbox. What's going on, guys? Aljo here with flightpath.com, and in this video I just want to quickly talk to you about Gnarbox version 2. Here it is, guys, the Gnarbox 2, but to let you guys know, this actually isn't a functioning Gnarbox. It's really what they're calling a beauty box, and it's actually one of the ones that they had on display at NAB. So if you guys have actually watched my channel before, you might have seen an interview I did with Gnarbox at NAB, and if you guys haven't seen it, I'll make sure I link that above. While I was at NAB, I was able to interview Tim, one of the co-founders of Gnarbox, and just to give him a little bit of feedback too about the Gnarbox 1. So if you guys aren't familiar with Gnarbox, they are standalone hard drives that allow you to back up your footage while you're in the field. I've actually done a video before on Gnarbox 1, and if you guys haven't seen it, I'll make sure it's linked above and below in case you wanted to watch that video. Now remember, this is just a beauty box. This is not a fully functional one. It's actually pretty beat up because this is what they used at NAB. I actually was in contact with them and I said, hey, I wasn't able to do a side-by-side comparison just to see as far as like size-wise goes. At NAB, is there any way I might be able to just take a look at the, the sample you guys had at the show? And they were willing to send me this one. So of course it is a little, it's not fully put together. It is really just to give you an idea of the size, the texture, the feel of it. And it's of course non-functioning, but it just gave me an idea, and they were really cool about it. And willing to let me just kind of borrow this beauty box just to see exactly the size difference and the texture difference, and talk a little bit about, just what are the real differences with version 2. But my quick thoughts on version 1, overall, as far as where it is and where it is in my bag, and do I actually use it? The answer is yes, I still do use this, and I think I mostly use it when I go out and shoot my drone footage versus me using it so much when I do, standard stills on my other digital cameras. And really because of the fact that at this size right now, one of their shortcomings, of course, when version 1 came out, was size. A lot of people talked about not size as far as dimension goes, but more hard drive space. This one right here is 128 gigs. I believe on version 1 they offered it up to a 256. But one of the big things was, this really was geared towards the kind of casual in the field shooter. And, one of the feedbacks that they got was, for some of the higher end shooters that are shooting multiple cards, 128 and 256 gigs just really wasn't enough capacity. So what they did, of course, when they came out with version 2 was address those concerns. So that's the reason why they offer now this version 2 one that's going to be all the way up to 1 terabyte. The one thing that would slow you down just a tad, which I'm glad they improved on, was the fact that you had to connect to the Gnarbox with your phone or a tablet in order for you to download the footage. There was no automatic download. Now what they've done here with the OLED display is that you're able to do a one-touch download. So you're able to put in your media and just view it here, press a button, and then it'll back up your photos to the hard drive, which was good because it took out that one step. So if you just really want to be quick on the go, you just have to put your media in here and automatically download it to the hard drive. You don't have to worry about connection to the phone, viewing the thumbnails first. You can actually just do it automatically. Now with Gnarbox 1, which is interesting, and I'm not sure once I get Gnarbox 2, an actual working model, I'm gonna see how this feels, because right now on version 1, they had a full-size SD card as well as a micro SD slot. Then they had 2 USB ports as well as a USB 3. Now on version 2, they only have an HDMI, they have an SD, and then they also have a USB-C. So it was interesting because a lot of the cards that I've used, of course, when I fly with drones is mostly micro SD, which means I'm gonna have to have that SD card reader. So I'm not sure about how much that's really gonna affect me. I just have to make sure that that SD card reader is with me because it only has a full-size SD slot on the version 2. So battery life with the version 1 was okay. It wasn't that great, especially if you're really using this thing to do a lot of editing while you're on the go. Now, this isn't necessarily meant to be a full computer where you want to do full editing. It's really on the go one where you might want to do some quick markers, setting your in and out points for certain clips, things like that. But that's with version 1. Now, it was a little bit slow, and the battery life didn't last that long like I said, if you're really using this thing, connecting to it and editing off of it. The cool thing now with version 2 is that they offer detachable and replaceable batteries, so that if you are editing, you wanted to use this now as more of a workhorse instead of your computer while you're in the field. and you needed that power, now you can just pick up an extra battery. Then you're gonna have a lot more time for you to do photo editing, video editing while you're in the field, especially if you have the option now to have multiple batteries. In version 1, the one thing I did see when I was pulling up my photos on my iPad was that they were loading a little bit slow. Now I'm not sure if that's normally a connection issue between my tablet and the version 1, but the big thing was, I believe it was the processor speed of version 1 versus now the version 2. There's a bump as far as Intel processor on the version 2. Once I get a working version, like I said, I'll be able to test those out and see exactly how much faster it is to not only pull and process those photos, but to view them now on my tablet. So with the version 2, they've actually included now a bunch of apps, which they didn't really do that. They have, I mean, they have the main app as far as you doing the downloads and then editing software. But I believe when this one now, and I'm only just reading about some of them, is that they're also including a few new apps that help you, like, one, manage your files and how file management is. A way for you to also look at some of the photos you took and be able to quickly select certain ones and rate certain ones. And for videographers, there's another app for you to do quick markers and editing so that you can actually prep your files before you take them onto your desktop. And then also there's a mini HDMI port here on the back. So if you actually wanted to plug this directly into a monitor or a TV just for displaying directly from the hard drive itself to your display, you're able to do that as well through another app. So something new with version 2, which of course I don't know about just yet of how it's gonna work, but they have an integration with LumaFusion as well as Adobe Lightroom. I use Lightroom and Photoshop, of course, to do all my photo editing, so it's gonna be interesting of what that's gonna do. I'm not exactly sure when they say that there's an integration. I'm not exactly sure what that really means at this point, but I'm curious to see how that's gonna work. Maybe there's some sort of quick workflow when you open up Lightroom when this is plugged in. I don't know. Well, I guess we'll see when that comes out. And just like version 1, this is, version 2 is gonna be water and weatherproof. They actually did some like promo video of the Gnarbox 2 getting spilled and dumped on. I'll actually put that video, I'll probably overlay it here, just to show you their little marketing and promo video of it. But pretty cool. I mean, it is IP67, waterproof and weatherproof. Very similar to how the version 1 was, but looks like they might have bumped it up as far as, you know, sealing goes, because they're definitely pushing the fact that it's really all weather. So, you know, made for extreme sports, made to be outdoors, made to kind of take a beating. Biggest difference, of course, is the OLED screen right here on the front, as well as these 4 buttons here, left, right, up, and down. Of course, this will be more than likely for you to, you know, do some selections on maybe what you want to do, multiple menu systems and stuff like that. I don't know what it does right now. Like I said, this is just a kind of a dummy version of the case and what it does. So it really just has some logo stuff in here, some electronics are going on, but nothing's actually fully functioning. There's actually no hard drive inside of it. So I've been a big shout out to the guys over at Gnarbox for, you know, listening to their customers and really adjusting and making all the changes for version 2. Now, the one thing that's cool from version 1 to version 2 is that they're actually supporting more codecs with version 2, and they're even including ProRes. So I'm not gonna go too much into detail with the specs. I'll make sure I put that info either down below on screen or down below in the description, and some links to know a little bit more about which ones they do support. But really nice that they're expanding those out for those people that are a little bit more advanced. So that's about it, guys. Version 1 is, of course, still available on their website, I think B&H and Amazon and other vendors like that. But version 2 is still on their Kickstarter, so make sure you check that out. I'll link that information down below in case you want to know a little bit more about pricing as well as when it's going to be releasing. I believe it's still towards the end of the year for this release. Make sure you guys are subscribed to their Kickstarter just so you guys know, and you will get those updates from them about the release of version 2. Thanks for watching. This is Ultra Stasio with FlightPath.com. I'll see you guys next video. Take care.